Shalom, my lovely, beautiful family. I's back. I's back with my part two video of my testimony. Now, first of all, I just want to say, in regards to my last video that I did, I praise, I praise the Most High that, well, first of all, I didn't expect the turnout to be how it was. So many people DM me, um, you know, thanking me or whatever. Again, the praises all go back to the Most High that He chose me to talk about that particular subject. Um, and I'm glad that I was able to help, in that area with the things that the Most High showed me. So I am forever grateful that I was used in that way, and I hope, a lot of people was able to um, get their questions answered, and excuse me, and I hope that people was, oh, excuse me, um, I hope that people, was able to get their questions answered, and the Most High was able to lead and guide you in that um, area as far as fleeing. But today's video is a part two to my how trauma affects your quality of life and how it affected mine. And so this is the part two. This is me talking about how the Most High delivered me totally, And so again, in my last live, I did state that my mom wanted me to clarify about the babysitter and the molestation and all that stuff. So again, I'm clarifying again. My It was my mom's friend which was a woman that was supposed to be watching me and my brother. And what she would do is she would leave me and my brother with the guy that she was with. And my mom didn't know any of this. And that's how the stuff, the molestation and stuff like that happened to me. So, again, I wanted to clear that up. I want people to know that my mom just didn't have me just with anybody or have me and my brother with just any old body. She had, it was her friend, a woman that was supposed to be watching us, and she was doing stuff. She was doing things behind my mom. My mom didn't know that she was leaving us with the guy that she was with or whatever. So, I'm clearing that up. So I ended my last, well, not the Flint to the Mountains, but my part one of this video, I ended off with 2009. I gave my life to the Most High. So I got tired of, so after, praying to the Most High, high as a kite and all that stuff, telling him I like doing that stuff and that I wanted to do that stuff, but I didn't want to go to hell and all that stuff. I was praying to the Most High about that, and shortly after that, my desire started to change. So, praise the Most High that 2009, I gave my life to Christ, and I didn't know that the road ahead of me, giving my life to the Most High. At the time, I'm calling him Jesus. I'm going back to Sunday church. I'm not keeping the laws and commandments. I'm not knowing that I'm, my ancestors are the people that's in the Bible. I didn't know anything like that. So, um, I, you know, gave my life to Christ. I'm going back to church. Oh, I got notes too. So if I'm looking down, I got notes and I got scriptures too. So if you see me looking down, that's what I'm looking at. So, um, I gave my life to Christ 2009 New Year's Day, and the things that he took away from me immediately was cussing, because I was cussing a lot, and drugs. So again, I was smoking marijuana, I was doing PCP, I was doing mushrooms, I was doing ecstasy pills. Those are my drugs that I was doing. And so when I gave my life to him, when I dedicated my life, I got tired of, the thing was, I got tired of being being depressed, doing things my way, doing the getting the whole runaround. You know what I mean? I just got tired of doing things my way. Got tired of being disappointed. Just me disappointing myself. Me trying to heal myself. Me self medicating. I got tired of doing all that stuff. So it kind of pushed me towards Christ or whatever. So he took away the cussing. He took away the drugs. So I was done with that. Um, I ended up getting back with my ex husband. At the time, me and him was separated. We had been separated um, for a while at that time. And so I was convinced then to get back with my ex husband. And that in itself was a whole roller coaster ride. So I got back with him. So I'm going to talk about my marriage for a little bit and how I conducted myself as a wife. Okay. And the way that I conducted myself as a wife is I didn't know how to be a wife. I didn't have a good example of what a wife was at the time. And there's no shade to my mom or nothing like that. I feel like her upbringing, a lot of our upbringing, I'm talking about so-called black people, we have a lot of what's the word, PTSD. Just trauma has been passed down. So a lot of the stuff that we adopted was negative stuff. So with that, I was not a good wife. I didn't have a good example. I didn't know what a wife was how she was supposed to conduct herself, nothing like that. And so I've always seen the masculinity of a so-called black woman, you know, and my mom, she operated in that, and we was always taught as so-called black women that you got to be a strong black woman and you don't need nobody, you're independent and all that stuff. So I kind of adopted that attitude, and not only that, the roles within my marriage was reversed. So I was a man in the relationship, no shade to my ex-husband, but he was not the man. Or he was the man, but he was operating in his male role. I'll say that. So it was our whole marriage was out of order. I'm calling the shots. I'm making the moves. I'm making the money. I'm making more money than he is, and I'm just doing all this stuff, and he's not doing his part as a man. So the roles are reversed, and therefore the marriage is not right. And so yeah, we was always taught to be strong and you don't need nobody, be independent, blah blah blah, this, blah blah blah, that. So I adopted that. Uh, I adopted that in my relationship. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't. In all actuality, meant to be. We wasn't meant for each other. You know what I'm saying? Because at the time, even though yes, I gave my life to Christ, I still hadn't been healed from my trauma. In fact, I didn't even know that it was trauma that I was experiencing until the age of 38. I didn't understand a lot of the behaviors that I had, why I would do certain things. And I also was a person that thought struggle love was love. So if my man is cheating and we arguing and all that stuff, and if he ain't doing, if he's not doing the toxic things, then um that mean he didn't love me, or I would equate toxicity as love. And so all of that stuff I'm not knowing, because when you look on TV, reality TV shows you, especially for so-called black love, they show you toxicity, you know and so that's all I knew as far as like that. So that was my thing with the marriage, but we ended up separating for good. Or we're divorced now, but at the time we ended up separating for good, because yeah, we wasn't good for each other. I wasn't good for him at the time, and he wasn't good for me. And so we ended up separating. And so and now this is why I'm still calling myself a Christian and all that. I'm a Christian and I'm going to church and all this stuff. but I still had struggles with men, you know. And again, I had daddy issues. Um, I had daddy issues real bad, real bad. Didn't even know it. My mom would tell me like, "Oh, you act like this because of your dad. You're doing this stuff because of your dad." And I used to be like, I don't care about him. I don't even think about him." But not knowing that the trauma of abandonment from my dad did cause me to act a certain way. Did cause me to choose the man that I was choosing and getting involved with the men that I was choosing. So, um, I came to grips with that later on in life. But at the time, I was like, "Mom, you know what you're talking about? I don't care about him. I'm okay, But it was a void that I was trying to fill with these different men, And I got a video of the men that I dealt with, which was not so great. So I'm probably gonna post that video on my page after this. So I'm not gonna get into too much detail about that. But I struggled with men big time. They was my weakness. Big men were my weakness for real. And again, because of daddy issues. And I forgot to mention while I was with my ex husband, while me and him was together, I got encouraged to write a book about my life. So that's where my prayer journal came in, where I talked about, my experiences, you know, growing up and all that stuff. And at the time, I'm thinking that I'm trying to get it published and all that stuff. I'm trying to do what I do with the book, but it wasn't my time yet, because if the Most High would have allowed me to publish that book, I would have been the biggest hypocrite you ever would have met. So the Most High, of course, he does things decently in order. So he didn't allow me to do that. So also I forgot, I'm back up a little bit when I was with my husband. So my ex-husband, so my attitude had got a little bit better, you know. I'm reading Bible. He's seeing me read scriptures a lot, and just the little things that he knew about me that was just crazy. He started to see the changes in me. And I remember one time he had called me and told me that how amazed he was of the changes that had took place in my life because I had given my life to Christ. But I still had tons of trauma on top of trauma that I needed to be delivered from. And so he started to see the changes in me. I'm reading my Bible every day. I'm going to church and all of that, right? But here's the thing. I'm going to church, but I'm ashamed of being a Christian around my friends. You know what I'm saying? Because I still got the same friends that's, partying, smoking weed, doing what they do. I still got my same friends. So because I was ashamed, phew, I can relate. I can relate to not launching out of season. Sis, stay in His timing. Yes, because I, the Most High would not let me. The things that I wanted to do, I was excited about doing at the time. The Most High knew I wasn't ready. I was excited about doing it, but the fact that I would have been the biggest hypocrite in the whole world would have made me look bad. Not and would have made y'all, me representing him would have made it look bad. So he didn't allow me to do a lot of things. And so as I'm ashamed of being a Christian, I'm ashamed of being a Christian because of my friends, and I hated that. I hated that I was ashamed of serving the Most High. Like I didn't have the boldness. So as a result of me being ashamed, I'm lukewarm. I'm very, very lukewarm. I got one foot in the world. I got one foot in the church. I go to church. Um, I go to church. I blend in with the people at church. I was like a chameleon. What you call it? A chameleon. It's protection. That's right. It's called, yeah. The Most High was protecting me. You know what I mean? And I praise the Most. Now, in hindsight, Afua. That's your name, right? Afua. In hindsight, I see that. At the time, I didn't see it. You know what I mean? At the time, because I was going through so much. I still was blinded by a lot of things or whatever. So, I was like a chameleon. One way I'm at church, people was, loving me at church, praising me at church. Well, to some degree, because the churches I was going to, some of the churches I was going to was very, very judgmental. You know what I mean? I'm in a place to where I'm trying to grow in the Most High, and the people there was, this one particular church was very, very judgmental because some of the guys there that at the church knew of my past and how I used to be. So instead of them trying to embrace me and love on me in a way to where, hey, sis, I see you trying to get it together, let me, it was like look down on you and just very judgmental, you know what I'm saying? So I still continue to deal with church hurt. And so as I'm navigating these different churches and all that stuff, I'm still blending in with the church. And then I'll get with my friends. I'll blend in with them. I wouldn't even play my gospel music because I'm back playing gospel music and all that stuff. I wouldn't even play that around my friends because I was very much so embarrassed. And still, my biggest weakness was men. So even though me and my ex-husband is not together, he moved back to, he's from Detroit, but he had moved to Vegas and all that stuff. So we're not, this time we're done, but we're not divorced. I'm meeting guys and getting with guys, and I'm committing adultery. All this while I'm Christian. You know what I mean? My biggest, I feel like the biggest, how can I say this? My biggest downfall was men. And I knew that men was my weakness for real. And again, I didn't understand. Well, I knew. Well, no, I didn't understand then, but I knew now that it was me trying to fill a void of my father not being there, and also the molestation that happened to me has shaped my mind to be very sexual at a very young age. My thoughts was very sexualized at a very young age, even though at the time we talking about 4 or 5 years old. I'm thinking sexual thoughts, not knowing that is sexual, not know, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm still so young or whatever. So I still have that seed planted, and now that I'm not a virgin, so I'm meeting guys, and we're doing what we do, and because of that, I'm getting caught up with the wrong men, all types of men that did me no good. You know what I'm saying? And men can see when a woman has low self-esteem. It's like they can smell it on you. You know what I mean? The way that you carry yourself, all that stuff. They see it on you. And I was always a victim to meeting guys that preyed off of women with low self-esteem, and it just always caught me up in bad situations. And I remember one day, and because I was so much sexual and all that stuff, and I remember one day I was sitting in my car. I remember just as clear as yesterday. I was sitting in my car, and I was thinking about, I don't know if I was talking to the Most High or if I was thinking this, but I remember saying to myself, no, I need to test. Forgive me, y'all, but I'm being honest. I need to test drive and see what they got going on, because if they ain't working with nothing, we can't be together. You know what I'm saying? So I was very adamant on, like, if he ain't, so my relationships was based off of sex. You know what I mean? So I dealt with that. So that was always my thought. And I remember, so I'm sitting in the car, that thought come across my mind. I don't know if I'm talking to God or if I'm just thinking, but the Most High told me, I created sex. I know what you like better than you know what you like. And it threw me. And I'm just like, what? Wait a minute. Because I don't know why I thought that Yah was a prude in that department, if that makes sense. If I'm being real right now, you know what I mean? Real vulnerable. But I felt like the Most High was a prude in that, but he created it. So how, you know what I mean? So with that thought, that was my journey. That was my road to freedom from molestation. It took a while though. It wasn't like, it took a while. So I kind of slowed down with dealing with the men that I was dealing with, even though I still was engaging in things I shouldn't have been engaged in. But it started my journey of not being so sexual. You know what I'm saying? And another issue that I had as a result of me being so sexual, I was a big flirt and a big tease. You know, like I was the woman that, again, like I said in my part one video, that I was the person that the Proverbs woman, the woman in Proverbs, not 31 woman, the other woman that the Bible says, stay clear from. That was me. That was me. I still was that person even as professing Christianity, you know? And so I would be a big tease, be a big flirt, you know. I could talk to me and a guy can be talking about the sky is blue, right? This is how sexual I was and thought. The sky is blue. Somehow or another, I'm going to turn that conversation sexual. That's how messed up my mind was due to that molestation. The plant that was the seed that was already planted in me because of what, you know, the guy had done. And again, I'm professing the Christian, and I would get by myself, and I would hate that. And it was like I couldn't. It was like to the point to where I couldn't control that. You know what I'm saying? It was just like almost like second nature to me. And when I get by myself, I would be so ashamed, and I would pray to the Most High, like, how can I be someone that's effective to bringing somebody into Christ if I'm behaving in a way that's not like Christ? You know what I'm saying? So I would beat myself up. When I got by myself, I would beat myself up so bad because I hated that part of me. I hated that I was lukewarm. You know, I hated that I also was a big tease, a big flirt, very sexual. I hated that. You know what I mean? That's something I wanted. I wanted the boldness of Christ. And I remember I eventually had met this lady at the time, and my mom, she was always bold. She was always stand up for what, you know, she believed in, stuff like that, especially about God. You know, she wasn't trying to fake it or shake it, nothing like that. But I remember it was this one lady that I used to I wouldn't say look up to, but I liked her, the way how bold she was when it comes to talking about God. Even though, again, Sunday church, no commandment keeping, none of that stuff, you know. Um, she was very, very bold. And I used to pray, like, I used to say, God, I want to be bold like that. I don't want to be ashamed of you, you know. And all that stuff was just weighing heavy on me because I didn't like that. When I got by myself, I hated the fact that I was ashamed and that I was not operating in the way that, you know, that will represent Christ. I was very, very ashamed. Very, very. I didn't like, I hated it. And, you know, sometimes we can pray to Yah for an answer, right? And the reason why we're not getting that answer at that time is because he's allowing the pieces to come together. You know what I mean? Like if the pieces is just here's a piece there, here's a piece there, here's a piece there, you're not going to understand the full picture. You know? So I would pray about these things. I wouldn't hear nothing right away, but he allowed the pieces of the picture to come together until one day um it all came together, you know. And so, you know, I'm still praying to be bold. I'm still praying not to be ashamed. I'm doing all of this stuff, you know. And something happened at my job about 2017, I think. Yeah. So my past had came back to haunt me. You know what I'm saying? I can't give too much details because I'm still working at the job. So, but it came back and it haunted me in a way to where somebody had did something at the job, and I found out about it. I found out about it through a coworker, and they told me about it. And I remember how bothered I was about it. Now, mind you, I was a person that swept things under the rug. I was a person that I'm not gonna do nothing. I'm about to put it under the rug and keep it moving. That's how I moved because I didn't want to deal. You know, I didn't think to deal with anything. It was too painful. All that stuff, right? I swept it under the rug. Well, no, I no, I was the Most High. at this time would not allow me to sweep it under the rug. He did not. And I was confused because that's all I knew how to do, you know? And I remember that night I could not sleep because I was thinking about it so much, and to the point to where I was in tears. And this time I couldn't run from it. I couldn't run from my past. I couldn't run from my trauma. I couldn't run from it, you know? And so I ended up being off work for a year due to it, you know. And in the very beginning of it, I was suicidal. That I've always kind of had like a those kind of thoughts per se, but I never had the guts to just off myself. You know what I mean? But again, like I said, in my past, I would put myself in dangerous situations too for something to happen. And praise, yeah, I'm still alive to tell my story because, like I would have ended up in destruction for real, because of how rebellious I had became, how just messed up in the mind I was. I was really doomed for the lake, and but it was all because of trauma why I behaved in the ways that I behaved, And so I ended up being off work for a year. In the very beginning, I was very suicidal. I wanted to die. And I remember staying with my mom. My mom had came and picked me up, and I stayed with my mom, and I was with her. She kind of watched out, kind of watched over me and stuff like that. And then, the very next day, I kind of felt better. And then the Most High started revealing things to me, like, you have swept so much stuff under the rug. Now the rug is eye level. So therefore, you can't run away from what you've been trying to hide or sweep under the rug. Now you gotta face this thing head on. Now all the pieces of the puzzle is coming together. I see the full picture. Antonia, you are behaving the way that you behave, even as a Christian, is because of unhealed trauma. You have trauma that is unhealed, unchecked. It's time, Antonia, it's time for you to get the help that you need, right? And so I'm like, oh, so that's how therapy came into play for me, because I needed to talk these things out. I needed to let all this stuff out that I had buried so deep for so long. And yeah, so I started looking for a therapist. The Most High blessed me with a wonderful therapist at the time. And around this time, I wasn't celebrating holidays and stuff like that anymore. You know what I mean? This is before I came into the truth. You know, um, so I found me a therapist, and I'm telling you, and I never knew this was a thing. Like, you can bury things so deep that you forget that stuff ever happened. So all kind of I'm in therapy sessions, all kind of stuff is coming back to memory that I forgot that I actually tried to I forgot that it actually happened because I had tried to bury it and forget about it. You know what I'm saying? So stuff was coming up, and now everything is fitting together. Like, oh, so the reason why I behave or think in a sexual manner the way that I do is because I was molested, and he already had woke that sexuality in me at a very young age. So this is why, and this is why I'm triggered by X, Y, and Z because of this happening. This is why I keep choosing these garbage men that I'm choosing. I'm choosing not saying that all men are trash, because all men ain't trash. But the man that I'm choosing is garbage because I'm trying to fill this hole, just try to fill this void that my dad abandoned, you know? And so all this stuff, again, the pieces are coming back together, And the one thing that I had a hard time with was the way that looked at myself. I thought I was so ugly. Like, there was nothing. It was like, I thought I looked good, but the core of me was like, no, you're ugly. You know, like, you could never be pretty. Or it was, I can't really explain it for real, but in the back of my mind, I was just always thought that I was ugly. You know, some days I had my good days. I feel like I had my good days to where I can, you know, but I thought I struggled with being ugly or thinking that I was ugly. And I remember, and I told the therapist that, and and I also, not only did I think I was ugly, that, but also that I felt like I had to accept the bare minimum from men because I was ugly, because I couldn't do better, I couldn't get better. You know what I'm saying? So that low self esteem. And why I have a low self esteem is because of molestation, because of trauma. You know what I'm saying? Me getting bullied in school and all that stuff. Not even realizing that, hey, it's a call, Antonio, you have on your life that other people can see, and they want to destroy that from you or take that from you. You know what I'm saying? Because they're not willing to put in the work for real. You know what I'm saying? Most people is not willing to put in the work, and I didn't even realize at the time, subconsciously, I didn't even realize that my mom will always say that, Tony, you're strong, you're very strong, you know. And even though I kept falling down, I kept getting back up. I kept trying to, you know, survive on. And but back to what I was saying about the ugly part. So I remember telling my therapist that I'm so sorry you felt that way. So, yeah, it was, you know, it was just the fact that I was bullied in school. You know, I was bullied in school, and every school I went to was, she's ugly. Oh, she's ugly. Oh no, the boys don't like me. Oh, you're ugly. But I was just different. That was the thing. It's like it's like all the boys when I got out of high school, and you know, I'm 18, I'm living my life, I'm away from school. The same dudes that talk bad about me was trying to talk to me. So that would always throw me for a loop. Like, well, dang, am I really ugly? Because I don't get it. You know. So that was, you know, something that I dealt with, but I didn't understand at the time. Well, I knew I had a call on my life. I knew it from 8 years old. Yeah, I knew I had a calling on my life. But again, you know, it's like the Most High started showing me that you, the reason why you was picked on and you was different because the call that I got on you, and other people can see it. And because other people can see it and they're not right, and they ain't trying to live their life right, they're gonna try to destroy what I have for you. You know what I'm saying? And so as a result of them doing that, it temporarily worked. You know what I'm saying? Because look at me now. You know what I'm saying? I'm not ashamed of saying I'm a follower of the Most High. I'm not ashamed at all. You know, I get on here because I would have never done what I'm doing right now. I would have never done that. I would have never done that back in the day because I was too ashamed. You know, still trying to meet guys and still partying and all that. I'm not doing drugs anymore, but I'm still partying. I'm still doing stuff that I shouldn't be doing, you know? And so I told the therapist, I was like, I'm ugly, man. I'm ugly. And he said, this is something that he said to me that stuck to me even to this day. He said, you remind me of an anorexic woman that thinks she's fat. And I was like, huh? Like, what do you mean? He was like, you ugly? Where? You're not ugly. You know? And I'm just like, well, you know, and when he said that to me, it stunned me because I've never heard it in a way to where, but I'm like, an anorexic girl is not even fat. She's skin and bones. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, that's the point. You're not ugly. He's like, it's nothing ugly on you. You know, you're a very attractive woman, you know? And so I would go home and sit there and think about it like, huh? An anorexic woman? That's deep, you know? And, you know, it was hard for me to break that mental chain that I had allowed, you know, over my mind. It was hard for me to break that. And until one day something a thought popped into my mind, you know. Um and I was like, well, wait a minute. I can be average. This is how it started for me. I can be average I'm okay with saying I'm average. You know, it's better than saying I'm ugly. That was the point that I was trying to make to myself. Like, I'm okay with saying I'm average, and I could work my way up from there. You know, if need be. You know, and so once that kind of clicked into my head, because I don't think average is. I mean, I don't think average is bad for real. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you can strive to be better and all that stuff, but I just didn't think, I didn't see what's wrong with being average or whatever. So I ended up starting to think like that. Say I'm no longer saying I'm ugly because I'm not, you know. And from there on, you know, my self esteem was started to be built up, started to be built up, and to the point to where the Most High used that therapist to deliver me. And I praise the Most High that, you know, I was susceptible to getting therapy, because we have been taught as a black community, especially, that therapy don't work. They just want your money. They just want to listen to your problems. They just want to do this, all this negative stuff about therapy. And yeah, it could be true if you're dealing with the wrong therapist. Again, I say that. But when you get with somebody that really genuinely cares and really wants to help you, that's the best thing that you can do, you know? And yeah, so after I got delivered from low self-esteem, shortly after that, shortly after that, I got awakened to me being a true Israelite of the Bible. You know what I'm saying? Like, my people that came on the people that's on that came from the slave trade are Yah's chosen people. So that really had me like, wait a minute, man. You know what I'm saying? So it really kind of helped boost me up for real. And so 28 years old is when I wrote my book. Y'all didn't use me then because I wasn't ready to be used. I was still a hot mess, and he needed to deliver me from this stuff that I was praying in secret for. You know, I was praying in secret about, and he was he delivered me. You know, and at the age of 38 years old, the Most High set me free from trauma. Here I stand. Here I stand, delivered. I am delivered. I'm free in the Most High, you know. And 38 years old, I was able to publish my book then. When I was trying to publish it at the age of 28, I was able to publish my book when I was completely delivered and free, you know, from bondage and stuff like that. So I just want to encourage anybody, everybody. Y'all's chosen. I'll just say that. If you are suffering from trauma and you're being held back by trauma, the Most High can and will set you free if you allow Him to. Is it going to be the easiest? No, because you're going to have to face some things that you probably buried so deep that you don't even want to remember it anymore. You're going to have to face that stuff head on. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to understand why you behave in certain ways, why you do the things that you do, why you act the way that you act. You know what I'm saying? Because stuff can hinder you. You know what I'm saying? You can literally be that person that block your own blessings. You know what I'm saying? And I was that person for a very long time. Blocked my own blessings because of trauma, unhealed trauma, you know? And I want to encourage people to get the help that they need. Turn to Yah. Yah will deliver you. He can use people. People have many types of gifts in the world. You know what I'm saying? And Yah can use that person to deliver you. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's Yah delivering you, but He does use people as vessels, right? So, yeah, man, I'm free. I'm free. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm delivered. It feels so good to walk around in the newness of life. It feels good. Like, again, if somebody would have told me at 19 years old, hey, Antonia, do you know you're not going to have low self esteem anymore? You're going to be healed from trauma. You're going to be a brand new person on fire for the Most High. If somebody would have told me that at 19, I would not have believed it because my mind was so gone. My mental was so gone, so damaged, so it was, you know what I'm saying? It was so bad, you know, because I really was in bondage. It felt like the bondage chain was like had me like this. You know what I'm saying? Like in the chokehold, I was like this. I couldn't move. I couldn't because I was so bound by it. But I'm telling you, prayer works. Prayer works. You can pray for yourself. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes you may not understand. Again, sometimes you may not understand why things are happening the way that they're happening. You may not understand it. But give it time. Y'all will answer you. Sometimes he's just allowing the pieces to come together so you can see the full picture. Once you see the full picture, it's like, oh, I get it now. I understand now, and the Most High can move you forward. But you gotta be willing. You have to be willing. You have to be willing to let Yah come in and clean you out. And again, it's not the easiest walk in life to go through. It's not, because I had to face some things again that was painful. And what I used to do was I would go in the Bible, get verses out the Bible, and I would write them on sticky notes and put it on the wall. This is what helped me too. I would get little sticky notes, those little sticky pads about this size. I would write a verse on there that applied to my mindset. It was that one verse. Let me see. The guys. I mean, it was a was it a guy that was asking for a prayer or something like that, and he was like, "I believe, help thou my unbelief." That one. And that was my thing. It's like, yeah, I believe that you can set me free, but I also don't believe that I can be free. You know what I'm saying? Verse about verse about let me see. I'm gonna read that story. I believe, but help thou my unbelief. And that is Mark 9:24. So that would be the verse that I'll put on my wall. And I would look at every single day because it's like I want to believe, but y'all please help my unbelief. And so um that resonated with me. It's Mark 9. Um I'm gonna read this. I'm gonna kind of read Spirit here and fell on the ground. Okay, so I'm gonna start at so it's Mark 9. I'm gonna start at verse 20. And they brought him unto him, and when he saw him, straightway the spirit tear him, and he fell on the ground and wallowed foaming. And he asked his father, how long is it ago since this came unto him? And he said, of a child. And oft time it have cast him into the fire and into the waters to destroy him. But if thou canst do anything, have compassion on us and help us. Verse 23, Jesus said unto him, if thou canst believe, all things are possible to him that believe it. Verse 24, and straightway the father of the child cried out and said with tears, Lord, I believe, help thou mine unbelief. And that was something that was a tug of war in my. It was like my mind and my heart was tug of war. You know what I'm saying? My heart was like, I won't change, I won't different. But my mind was like, oh, you can't do it. Oh, you're not gonna be able to do it. You're not gonna be able to break free from these negative thoughts. So I was in tug of war against my heart and my mind. I was tug of warring with each other. You know what I'm saying? And so I used to put sticky notes on the wall and read them. I get off the bed, read them every single day. And that also helped my deliverance. You know what I'm saying? So again, here I stand. I'm delivered, man. I'm free. I'm confident. I'm confident in my skin. Can't nobody um tell me nothing different. You know what I'm saying? You know, can nobody tear me down because I believe what Yah says about me as his daughter, as his child. You know what I'm saying? And again, I want to encourage you guys to I want to encourage you guys to again get help if you have trauma that you need healing from. Go ahead and face them. Go ahead and face them demons head on. Get free. You know what I'm saying? Because the Most High wants to move you forward, but if he can't move you forward because you got bondage, you got to get free from that and let the Most High do what he do. So I got some verses that I want to read. The water for your testimony, a quaff, hallelujah. That tug of war is a battle. Oh yeah, Jamal, it really was a battle. I dealt with that for many years. It was just like, well, once I became a Christian, it was just like, oh, wait, yeah, you know, I want to do right. I love you so much. I really do love you. I really want to, you know, be on fire for you and all that stuff. But then the mind is like, oh, you ain't gonna do it. You can't do it. You ain't gonna be able to overcome this because look how you feel about yourself and all that stuff. So I'm battling. Oh, day, I'm battling. And again, like, you know, if you gotta start off with just getting verses that resonate with you and whatever situation you're going through and put it in a place to where you're looking at every single day and you read that, let that get into your spirit, let that get into your mind, your heart, let it get into you until you start believing until the Most High set you free. And that's what he did for me. And so I got some verses dealing with broken heart. So Psalms 147 verse 3, he healeth the broken in heart and bindeth up their wounds. Psalms 34:18, the Lord is nigh unto them that are of a broken heart, and saveth such as be of a contrite spirit. 1 Peter 5:7, all praises for your deliverance. The enemy turns up once you commit to Yah. Oh yeah. 1 Peter 5:7, casting all your care upon him, for he careth for you. 1 Corinthians 13:4-8, charity suffereth long and is kind. Charity envieth not. Charity vaunteth not itself, is not puffed up, doth not behave itself unseemly, seeketh not her own, is not easily provoked, thinketh no evil, rejoiceth not in iniquity, but rejoiceth in the truth, beareth all things, believeth all things, hopeth all things, endureth all things. Charity never faileth, but whether there be prophecies, they shall fail. Whether there be tongues, they shall cease. Whether there be knowledge, it shall vanish away. And so, and I also see, like, as a matter of fact, I just seen this yesterday. I was out with my friends last night. We had one out. And I seen a guy, he was on a scooter, and his shirt said, F-U-C-K love. And I'm just like, that's saying, you know, F Yah for real, because Yah is love. That's what he is. You know what I'm saying? And if you really truly experience love, you wouldn't say F love, because I just read the definition of love. 1 Corinthians 13:4-8. You know what I'm saying? And that right there, I had to realize that too, because what I'm thinking is love at the time was not love. You know what I'm saying? So it's very important to really know who you are and whose you are. You know what I'm saying? If you're trying to do things on your own without Yah, it's not gonna work out well for you in the end. You know what I'm saying? And so the Most High, if you have a broken heart, the Most High will be there for you. You know what I'm saying? You let him in, he gonna come in. Let him heal you and deliver you. You know. And I also I got some verses for encouragement. You know, while you may be going through your healing or deliver, or you know, while you may be going through your healing, I have some verses to encourage you through the healing process. You know what I'm saying? So Proverbs 24:16, for a just man falleth 7 times and rises up again, but the wicked shall fall into mischief. Now I want to say something real quick about that, because me being a Christian, all that stuff at the time, I really don't say Christian because of, I know that we had a covenant with the Most High, so I don't, you know, whatever. But at the time, I kept doing stuff, falling down, doing stuff I shouldn't have been doing, and I always had a consequence for what I did. You know what I'm saying? And it would get me back right. You know what I'm saying? And in the midst of me falling down, Yah showed me who He really was for real. You know what I'm saying? Like, it showed me who I was as a person and who He was, or and who He is as our Creator. You know what I mean? So it's important for you if you fall. Of course, you don't want to fall, but if all have sinned and fall short of the glory of Yah. You know what I'm saying? It's important for you to learn the lessons that you need to learn, because that's how you grow. That's how you heal. And for me, I didn't even realize at the time that the Most High was growing me and healing me at the same time. Again, it was a piece here, a piece there, a piece here, a piece there, until He finally put the pieces together, and now I can see the full picture. So if you happen to fall, do not beat yourself down for falling. You get up, dust yourself off, and keep it moving. Keep striving for Yah. So that's, what I'm saying, that I want to encourage you on that. 1 John 4:4. Ye are of God, little children, and have overcome them, because greater is He that is in you than he that is in the world. You got to remember that the Most High is bigger and better than Satan. He got more power than Satan. You know what I'm saying? So even if you fall, just know that greater is He that is in you than he that is in the world. You know what I'm saying? Always keep keep that in mind. Ephesians 6:11-12. Put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. We gotta remember, we fight. We got an enemy that's after us, and we gotta keep close to Yah, put on that armor, and keep it moving. We gonna win. Romans 8:38-39. For I am persuaded that neither death, nor life, nor angels, nor principalities, nor powers, nor things present, nor things to come, nor height, nor depth, nor any other creature shall be able to separate us from the love of God, which is in Christ Jesus our Lord. So you gotta remember, even while you going through your healing journey, nothing can separate you from Yah. If you are trying to live a life pleasing to Yah and you trying to get healed from trauma, just know, even if you fall, nothing can separate Him from you if you getting back up and you keep trying to, strive for Yah. Remember that. Philippians 4:6-7. Be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known unto God. And the peace of God which passeth all understanding shall keep your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. Psalms 139:14. I will praise thee. This is right here, man. Man, I will praise thee, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are thy works, that my soul knoweth right well. Praise the Most High. It don't matter what this world tells you, calls you ugly, says that you're this and you're that. You know what I'm saying? The Most High created you, and He sees something special within you, especially if you are. I'm speaking to the chosen ones. I'm speaking to the people that are chosen by the Most High, whether you know it now or not. I'm speaking to you. You know what I'm saying? The world put the world speaks about vanity. The outside appearance, and you got to remember that the Most High looks at the heart. He looks at what's within. That's the true beauty. You know what I'm saying? That's the intangible beauty. Most people's looking at the world looks at the tangible beauty. You want to work on the intangible, the things that's inside that nobody can take away from you. You want to be the best version of yourself in Yah. You know what I'm saying? You want to be that person. You know, Second Corinthians 5:17. Therefore, if any man be in Christ, he is a new creature. All things are passed away. Behold, all things are become new. Let me tell you what. I was a person that had a very bad reputation because I was so out there. Let me tell you something. I am a new, according to the word of the Most High, I am a new creature. You know what I'm saying? The old things has passed away, all things have become new. And I'm walking in my newness of life. I got my head, I have um my head held high, not in a conceited, arrogant way, no. Because I know the Most High delivered me. I know what he can do. Like I'm confident in him, you know? Proverbs 31:30. Favor is deceitful and beauty is vain. But a woman that feareth the Lord, she shall be praised. Work on the inner beauty. It's okay to want to look nice. I like to dress up. I got heels, purses, outfits for days, right? I like to look fly. That's just something I like to do, you know? But at the end of the day, the inside of you is what matters the most. Because when all the beauty fade and all that stuff and you ain't got that going on for you, you're really useless for real. You really, you know what I'm saying? You have to be the person that's working on being a better version of yourself. We living in such a cold world. People don't care about nobody but themselves. They don't care about nobody but themselves. And I strive to be the opposite of what the world says you should be. You know what I'm saying? I strive to be the best version of myself. I strive for it every single day of my life, you know, and more so now, you know, I'm reading my scriptures more and spending time with y'all, quality time with y'all. So it's very important that you seek Yah in all areas of your life, you know. And again, if you're broken, get healed. The Most High will heal you. If you really want to be healed, the Most High will heal you. So I just wanted to come on here and tell my part 2 of my testimony of how I got to this point where I'm free, I'm delivered, I'm happy, I'm in a state of peace. I can go on and on and on and on and on and on and on. And you know, I come on here to encourage people, man. That's the gift that the Most High gave me. Come on here, encourage people, whether it be on here or in person or whatever. I want to encourage you in Yah. I want to open your eyes, help open your eyes to what Yah is doing. You know what I'm saying? So I hope this was very good for the ones that watched. I appreciate you guys very much. So yeah, eyes free. Eyes free. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know what my next video is gonna be about. You know, I already had this kind of pre-planned or whatever, but maybe I should talk about some of the things that a lot of people, I want to say a lot of people DM me after that Flint to the mountain situation. And hearing the testimonies and the eye-opening stories, man, blew me away for real. Like, man, and I'm just honored and humbled. First of all, humbled to be used by the Most High as a, you know, willing vessel or whatever. So I don't know what my next topic is going to be, but hopefully it'll be something that's, you know, beneficial or not. But again, thank you guys for watching. And I always end with this verse. You know, always remember this. Always remember this, no matter what. Matthew 22:14 says, "For many are called, few are chosen." You guys be blessed.